Hey everybody, it's Heiden here, and I'm back with the Lodrik versus Heiden campaign. This is scenario 1. This is the 20th of February 1942, turn 76. So, just to let you know, I'm expecting some big things this turn, hopefully good for me. I'm sending a ton of bombers at Lodrik's carriers near Luganville and Noumea, and I also have a little cap trap set up for Mr. Lodrik over there at Tarakan. So I'm looking forward to seeing if both of those things work out. And of course, we got the usual stalemate in China. We'll see if anything happens there, but I doubt it will. Let's watch. Okay, here we go. February 20th. Let's see how all that shenanigans goes down there near Noumea. Hopefully, oh, grabs a base. Busuanga. Let's hope we can make something happen down there with his carriers and my bombers. And let's see if he tries some stuff at Tarakan this turn too, because I, put some extra aircraft there. Okay, I-9 at Fiji. Man, he's just south of Fiji now. Fortunately, we've got some escorts there that pushed him down. Alright, so the I-9 spots the Hovey, or the Hovey, which is a destroyer minesweeper, escorting something. But this is south of Fiji, and I don't like where this is at. This is kind of dangerous for me, so I'm going to keep note of the fact that we have subs just south of the Fiji on the map. We need to maybe reroute some stuff. No night strikes. That's not so great. That's not so good. I was hoping for some. Oh, here we go. Grabbing a base now. He's unloading in at Tablas. Finally, he's on the move, taking these bases. 3 points. A lot of ships from Rabaul now. Naval movement. Okay, so far so good. We haven't seen a whole lot of sub activity this turn, which I'm fine with. Okay, sighted a Japanese float plane. Well, we just lost a PBY. Shot down by Cap. Another PBY lost. Things are hard to keep in stock. All right, so it looks like we have a pretty decent sized raid head toward Bandung. Some Nels escorted by a fair amount of zeros, and he's targeting the airfield. All right, so he damages the airfield, which is gonna slow us down building fortifications there in that hex. And then the supply hits here give us an unknown amount of supply loss. We'll have to figure that out later on. Okay, here comes the China spam for the day. A medium-sized raid escorted by a fair amount of fighters. Sion ground attack. Okay, moderate losses there. Okay, and this is a concentrated raid on Changsha with a heavy escort. We're reporting 12 Sally's damage, so I'm sure a couple of those may actually go down. Damage on the airfield, not too heavy right now. Thunderstorm's helping us out. 10,000 feet, all right? And a pretty big raid on Kukong. He does a fair amount of casualties. Some guns lost there, disabled. Oh, destroyed. 9 destroyed, yeah. Good weather. Okay, another large unescorted raid this time coming into Sion. Minor casualties, again, the weather helping out. Okay, and another raid directed at Kukong, attacking the ground. This time losses are a little easier. Okay, another raid directed at Changsha. Minor hits. Good weather for us, bad for him. And another raid on Changsha, same thing. Should all tally up to some decent damage on the airfield today. Okay, another ground attack at Sion. And another raid on Changsha. Wow. Okay, the weather again helping us. And another raid on Sion. Like, why do you bother even attacking the ground forces here if you don't intend to attack us? Like, why waste the time? He needs to be moving on towards Sion. Ugh. This isn't exactly what I wanted to happen here. Okay, so these are my heavy bombers. They're coming in to attack the ships at Luganville. I was hoping they were going to stay down here and not go up to here. So this isn't really so great at all. Yeah, this was actually really, really bad. So we just lost all of our liberators that went in. Ooh. And you look at the Zuiho B. These are leftovers from Zuiho that was damaged. So this was not a good raid for us at all. Our coordination is not working out the way I wanted it to. More liberators are going to come in and get completely eaten up. To get through, but I doubt they're going to hit anything. Hie. Whoa. Okay, so we lose another liberator, which are irreplaceable right now. But we do determine he's got the Hie here at Luganville, which could be a huge problem. Okay, now the B-17s are come in for the same thing, but because they're coming in piecemeal, we're probably going to lose a lot of them to the fighter cap. 2 squeak through. Now they're attacking the Haruna. And we miss, which I expected them to miss. The intent was to draw out the cap fighters, but yeah, that's now we know he's got 2 Congos at Luganville. Okay, more B-17s are coming in piecemeal. All 4 make it this time through. And they miss, and I expected this. Shoot. Wow, what a costly raid today. Alright, so we paid a lot of aircraft losses to find out what he's got here at Luganville. Wow, that was a very costly AM phase for us. I wouldn't put too much faith in that Achilles sinking right now. Spotted a Japanese torpedo bomber. Okay, we got some Bettys coming in from Babel to slow down the killers of Cagayan. Minor casualties, and it will slow us down. And more Bettys coming in probably from Manila or Clark. More losses. This was a costly day in the air. That didn't work out at all the way I wanted it to. Whoa! A deliberate attack at Changsha? This is different. Why would he do that? Oh, this is gonna be a mess. Let's find out. This is not okay. So he's not. He's a deliberate attacking here. This is not a bombardment. So there's a lot at stake here. Man, I hope we can hold out here. He's got at least 6 divisions, right? Hopefully we can hold. Man, he's really eating this up. I think we're gonna hold, but yikes. Let's check this out. Attacking force 10,000 AV? 10,000 AV. Where did these guys come from? Look at this. Whoa. Oh, wow. Okay, let's look at this. 10,000 to 4,000 AV. This is everything he's got. Look at these casualties. Terrain, forts, leaders. Okay, so it's 1 to 2 assault odds. He reduced the fort level down 1. The casualties are extreme. Look at this. 34,000 to 12,000. A lot of destroyed squads, a lot of vehicles, disabled guns, you name it. We hold out, but boy, that's wild. This is a big attack. Look at those losses. Where did all these guys come from? I did not know this. Look at this. Look at this. He's got everything. He put everything into this. These are basically all of his, the bulk of his army is here. This is basically almost everything, and he put it all in. I did not see this coming. I did not see these guys coming in like this. I had no idea he was planning anything like this. We had no SIGINT that made me feel like he was about to do anything like this, but jeez. We hold on, but barely. I don't know how many days we can keep that going. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we got the Royal Thai Army coming at us in Malaya. They didn't do much. Guess we couldn't get out of town. We couldn't get out of town in time. We'll be lucky if these guys even survive it. Yeah, okay. They do survive it, but not well. Oh, and they're in pursuit. Oh, we're in trouble. All right, so he just took Wasu despite us trying to get out of there. He's apparently faster than we are. We take huge casualties on that, and he actually has a unit pursuing, so he's followed us into the hex. Oh, very interesting turn. Wow, I did not see that attack on Changsha coming. We need to get reinforcements there right away. Like everything we can get in there. Wow, 38. Wow. Now I know why he's been attacking the fortifications for so long. He was saving up for this. Ooh, this looks like we got a light cruiser. A couple other ships too. Hmm. Let's let's analyze this thing. Wow. Man, so much happened this turn. I don't even know where to start. Well, okay. Obviously, the attack in on Changsha was the big story of the day, but we had many other things going on here. So let's just start with our usual routine, and we'll go through the numbers. So aircraft losses today. What a blowout! This was not a good day for me in the air, and it was entirely my fault. Now I'll explain what I did and why this went so poorly. But 14 losses for us, 2 for him, and our losses are priceless. 7 liberators lost, and we don't get any more of those. Like, we get 24 LB-30s, and that's it. We don't see them again until B-24s come much later. 4 B-17Ds, also priceless. We don't get those back. We get B-17Es and Fs and Gs later on, but not right away. The Es are only coming in as a trickle, so the loss of 4 fortresses is a big blow. He only loses in trade 1 KI-46 and 1 0. We also lose a 5A PBY and 2 additional PBY 4s and 5s due to air. So these were shot down by a cap of some sort. So, yeah, not a good day. Not a good day for us in the air. All these aircraft that we lost are kind that we don't really have enough of to begin with. Top pilots, bad day for us again. 3 MIA, so they're missing. 4 wounded and 5 lost for good. And these are not easily replaceable pilots right now. Looking at the pilot replacement pool, let's take a look at those wounded pilots first. Alright, so we have this Navy pilot. We're going to send him back to the reserve. We have an Australian pilot we'll send back to reserve. And the rest have return dates, which is good. So over here, looking in the actual reserve pool itself, quite a bit of pilots stacking up in here. We still have Tanner B, our test subject. He's still waiting for a return date. And yeah, and this is the pilot who just moved over from the group to the reserve pool. He's still showing wounded, but we'll give it some time. Again, but if my theory is correct, it doesn't matter how much time we give him. He probably lost an arm or a leg, and he's not coming back. Continuing on, the Allied and Japanese loss points both went up last turn, although I feel like ours went up more than his, which I'm not really understanding, but, you know, I'll have to look at Tracker and see what it says for victory points. But he did take quite a bit of losses at Changsha this turn, so that's why his losses went up. But he still got a 10-1 advantage on us with loss points. Last turn, no ships were sunk on either side. So I would say he gained on us last turn. Well, wait a minute. Let me take a look at this. No. If he gained on us, it was pretty small. So we're holding steady, but he definitely ticked up, and we did too. But I feel like he gained a little tiny bit on us last turn. Let's continue looking at our reports. So we'll start with SIGINT for this turn, February 20th. The 2nd Independent Engineer Regiment is planning for an attack on Changsha. Well, okay, I believe it now. These guys are planning for an attack on Kukong. Surabaya's mentioned. Nagasaki's mentioned. Surabaya's mentioned again, so we should take a look at that. Heavy volume of radio transmissions at Kwajalein. I wonder what he's doing there. Okay, and a 66th Infantry Regiment planning for an attack on Kukong. Okay. Let's see. Surabaya was mentioned more than once. Let's see if anything's going on there. 14 ships in port. About 25, 40 aircraft. Nothing really. Nothing major there. Nothing we didn't already know. Okay, let's take a look at the ops report. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff on here, so just bear with me. I'm going to go through it, and I will let you know if anything noteworthy is noted here. Some ships are repaired. Mines are laid at Colombo. Okay, that's fine. A lot of sighting reports, of course. There's going to be a ton of those. One of our PBY-5s destroyed by cap at 120, 150. Let's take a look at that real quick. 120, 150. I think that's probably down here. So 120, 150. Ah, okay. So one of our PBYs from New Caledonia or Fiji got shot down over Luganville, probably by these guys. These fighters on these carriers. So that's where we definitely lost one of our PBYs. And then we had a pilot killed in a landing accident of a 5A. Damaged B-17 Fortress shot down on the way home. That's a shame. More sightings. Okay, looks like we got a couple ships coming back into service that were under repairs. Okay, the Louisville at Noumea is fully repaired, 100%. I had it being worked on by a repair ship. Madras size 6, Dunedin size 4, Surabaya size 6 airfield. Okay, check this out. We have this light AA cruiser, Van Heemskerk, as at Mombasa. So we can take a look at that. I wonder what the stats are on that thing. Van Heemskerk. It's a Dutch light cruiser, anti-aircraft, decent stats for AA. Okay. It's got some sort of radar on board. All right, this is something. The range is kind of a hindrance for sure. That 87 hex range at regular cruise speed doesn't give us a lot of high speed running, but you know, it's something. We'll find a way to get that over to Ceylon and incorporate it into our operations. Okay, so I think we've covered all of the important stuff from the intelligence report. I'll give you guys one last chance to take a look at this for the term before we start looking at what has occurred. So let's talk about what has occurred. And we will start in China. Oh, okay, so let's just start up here. So in Xi'an, Lodrik is doing absolutely nothing. I feel like I got bamboozled. I feel like this was a feint. And you know what? It worked because he had my attention up here looking at all this stuff when he has been maneuvering this entire time towards Changsha. So I feel like kind of silly for spending so much focus up here and just neglecting the center. I don't think he's actually trying to make a move on Xi'an at this point. So yeah, so we're all upending and moving around up here for no reason because he's not doing anything except bombing. Up here, he just had a pretty decent size victory at Wasu, and it pushed us deep into these mountains, which is not ideal. So now we're kind of down to nothing here, and we need to try to move to a road hex. And because we're in this mountain terrain, it's going to take us forever. So I was trying to come up and around, but he beat us to it. And now he's pursuing. So this is going to be a hard time for these guys up here. And we already talked about Xi'an. So let's talk about the situation in Changsha. This is quite possibly the largest death stack I've ever seen. I had no idea this was coming. Let's look at this. Lodrik brought 10,000, almost 11,000 AV to bear on us at Changsha. I had no idea this was happening. I know he's been bombing it for a while, trying to soften it up, but I thought it was just because he had nothing else to do. But I guess all this time he's been maneuvering to get this amount of troops into there. 11,000 AV. I have never seen anything like this. Look at the casualties that he took, though. Now we took a lot as well. Don't get me wrong. We're in a bad shape, but he lost a lot of troops. But he's got a lot more. Look at this. Look how big the list of troops that he's got. It's so big that I it takes up the whole thing, and I have to keep scrolling. Look at this. Look at this. This is insane. The amount of troops that he crammed into this hex is absolutely ridiculous. This is a Lodrik depth stack, the likes of which the world has never seen. There has to be 50 units or more, 60, 70 units in one hex. I really wish we were playing with stacking limits because he wouldn't be able to do this nonsense. But be that as it may, he's done it. And now we have to deal with the fallout from having this many troops uh, in in Changsha. Look at this. Look at this. It takes up the whole screen. And there's ours. So at least we can say that our Chinese troops held, and they should be proud of themselves, right? So I need to start rebuilding these units here because I think they fight better as one cohesive uh, unit, right? As opposed to a bunch of these smaller ones. My concern now is, do I continue to reinforce this, or do I leave what's in there and let them fend for themselves? Because what if he took the fort level down to a size 2, okay? And we have way too much airfield damage on here to rebuild it. We have to rebuild all this first because of the game mechanics before we even start building forts. So if he attacks 2 more times, he'll easily take that fort level down to 0. And then what happens? Do we lose? If we lose without fort, I don't want to dump a bunch of troops in there because of the way the game mechanics work for retreats. We'll lose just thousands of troops just because they retreat. So I don't know if I want to send more units into there just to die. So I hope we can hold for a few days. It's going to take some time to get more troops in there. But one thing that we can't fix right now is that fort level. And I don't know what he's got in reserve here, honestly. You see here, if you can see it, he's indicating that he's moving troops back. So these are probably damaged units that he's going to fall back to rest. But I don't know if he's got enough power in these units to attack again. So I need to decide if I want to reinforce it or just hold out here. But I'll tell you this. If he punches through a Changsha, this whole flank is going to fold and we're out of here. We will have to evacuate quickly to get out of here because then he can cut us off in all these places. In fact, I don't even know why I'm hanging out at Pinsiang anymore. I feel like I'm overextended now that he's here. If he busts through a Changsha, we are going to get flanked because he can get down to Henyang before we can get back to Henyang. And then we have a lot of troops that are stuck behind the lines. So this changes everything as far as my strategy in China. And regardless of if he continues to attack at Changsha, I know he's got 10,000 AV worth of power right here alone. So he could easily punch through here, easily punch through here. He can go anywhere he wants with this amount of force. And we won't stop that. There's too much. So I gotta say, well done, Lodrik. I didn't see this coming. We did not have the indication that this level of intensity was coming towards us. What he chooses to do with it now is something else, and I don't know what really our options are to stop that. This is bad. I don't like the implications here. Just the fact that this amount of troops are here, and he can go any which way he wants to go with them. Because that's just like a battering ram. And quite honestly, I don't understand why he chose to just go into the hardest part of our defenses. He could have started working through Aichang. He could have flanked around through this way and busted through that way. I don't have any idea why he chose to just throw himself against us at our very strongest point. But he did. But even now that he did, I feel like he's got enough power and enough force here to just whittle us down and push us out of Changsha. So the next few turns are going to be very critical in China for us to determine what it is exactly we're trying to accomplish at this point. I don't really know if we can hold this amount of troops back in any sector. Not on this terrain anyway. That we'd have to fall back to a ×3 hex. And the only one that I see that makes sense would be maybe like here or here, right? That's or here. This might be better because off the base hex, because for reasons that we left the reasons that we left Kukong would be the same if we were to go into Chikyong. So we want to be on ×3 terrain, but I'd be giving up a heck of a lot of bases to do it. And even then, we could get flanked, right? Boy, this is some hard choices to make here. I think we'd have to fall back even more. Possibly to here and give up all these bases. And then we'd have to move troops from Chongqing down to here. And then we'd have to cover this road too. Wow, this could be bad. This could be a whole domino effect in China. So let's see how the next few turns go. But yeah, I will tell you right now, if Changsha falls, all of this is rolling up, and we're falling back to a new line and giving up all these bases here because there's just too many approach vectors for us to cover. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just cannot believe the size of this depth stack. I know I've been talking about this for like 8 minutes, but jeez, has anyone in this game ever seen a Lodrik depth? Well, has anybody ever seen a depth stack this big? I know Lodrik is world renowned for his depth stacks, but this is a whole other level. Okay. I was planning on using Chinese troops in Burma, but not now. I'm calling back anything that has that's whatever's gone this way is they can keep going. Anything over here needs to stay in reserve because I cannot risk him punching through here. So anything in Chongqing, which we have quite a bit of troops here, I'm packing them up. And we're going to send them down because we need to reinforce this whole situation over here. In Burma, I was thinking about maybe probing for an attack somewhere, but it required a lot of Chinese troops to do it, and I no longer want to use them for that purpose. Now that I know we have that amount of troops in central China that we have to defend against. So I think for the time being, we're just going to hang loose in this area. But one thing I did notice at Bangkok is that it's showing that there's a lot of aircraft there. This could be something. Could be the preemptive build-up for an attack on Rangoon. So I was going to send some fighters from Rangoon to China, but if he's going to start building this up, I don't even know if I want to do that now. So we need to wait a couple turns before we make any drastic moves here, because what happens in Changsha is going to change the math for everything in this region. For now, he's doing nothing, right? The Bay of Bengal is quiet. We have another supply convoy that just got in. It's already unloading, bringing in a lot of supply. And I got another one here coming in. And then we'll be able to ship these guys all back and do it again. Get another supply convoy here that's ready to go. So, yeah. Rangoon's going to be loaded up with supply here within a turn. Hopefully it starts making its way into China, where we're having some supply difficulties after what just occurred here. Really nothing to talk about in Malaya. Same in Sumatra. No sign of Lodrik coming towards Palembang yet. Over here in Java, the only thing we have left is at Bandung, and while he has been bombing it, he's done nothing really else. So we're just waiting to see what happens with this. At Balikpapan, he elected not to attack this last turn, so we are just taking that time to get put back together and keep working on the fort levels. I sent a lot of aircraft to Tarakan last turn to see what was going on with these enemy troops here. Of course, he did not attack. So now I think what we're going to do is something like this. Check this out. I think we're going to just do one of these things. We're going to do a ground attack at Set all fighters. I'm going to use every fighter I get to strafe and ground attack his troops here in the hopes that we can um, kind of whittle them down because they are absolutely surrounded. And I don't think he's going to be sending any more transport plates anytime soon. I think he's scared to do it. So this could be our chance to weaken these guys or maybe kill them through attrition. We do have sight on some sort of convoy moving west this way. We don't know what this is, but the last time I tried to attack one of these, I got sliced and diced. So I'm not doing that. We are sending our subs to take over patrolling the Makassar Strait because this is going to be a natural choke point for his ships as they come through in the following days and weeks. The killers of Cagayan are still working their way back to Cagayan. We are getting bombed now from Babel and somewhere on Luzon, but it's not going to really stop us. We're going to get where we need to go. Finally, Lodrik is taking bases in the islands in the middle part of the Philippines. I was wondering when he was going to do it. He should start grabbing these bases quickly now, and he'll start grabbing some points for that, which he really needs. He needs to start doing something to turn this thing around. Which, we're seeing signs of it, right? He made an attempt up here. And, he's finally working on these bases, albeit a failed attempt at Tarragan and a lackluster one at Balikpapan. This part of the Dutch East Indies is very quiet still, and I'll take it. Also quiet over here in Australia. Nothing really happening. Over here, at least in Australia, all the way from Port Moresby, Darwin, all the way down the coastline to Tasmania, there's nothing really interesting to report here. It's the standard issue stuff, right? We're moving some ships in, training some aircraft, but Lodrik is not challenging this part of Australia right now. But I'll tell you what he is doing. He's got his aircraft carriers here. And my bomber attack, at least with the twin engine bombers, right, did not go. They did not fly last turn. And he's well within range. If you look at Nemea, range 6 is well within the range of these bombers. This was within the range, but they elected not to attack. And looking at the intel here, it's showing 64 fighters, which is an increase from what we had before. So now I'm feeling a little more reluctant to attack with that many fighters after what happened at Luganville, and we'll talk about that right now. We got some good eyes on what happened here, but it cost us a lot of bombers to do it. So he moved in a second carrier task force, and I have to assume these are light carriers or CVEs, right? Because he doesn't have a lot of aircraft there. But we got eyes on at least 2 Congo-class battleships at Luganville, and that's a big threat because we don't have any battleships out here at all. So if you were to move these guys towards Nemea for a bombardment, it'd be pretty bad because we don't really have anything to intercept these, and he's got fighter cover, right? What happened with the B-17s and the Liberators? I set them to a naval attack at 20,000 feet with the intention that they would supplement all these B-26s and Hudsons that I had on naval attack as well. And so we just kind of come at it at a combined arms kind of thing. But the sad thing is that I had them set to range 10. And I had these guys set to range like 8 or range 9. And that was a big mistake because that would have been fine for going to Tana. But because these guys didn't have the range to get to Luganville, they didn't go. But the B-17s and the B-24s did. So they flew all the way to Luganville and ran into Cap and got absolutely slaughtered. I'm really surprised. We haven't seen his fighters be that effective against 4-inch bombers in a long time. He seemingly lost none, and we lost a lot. So that was a big mistake. And it was a costly mistake because all the bombers that I lost, I don't get back. We don't get replacements on Ds, B-17Ds, and those LB-30s. When they're expended, that's it. We do get B-17Es, but they come in very slowly and much slower than the amount of bombers that I lost last turn. So the situation's bad at Luganville because now we're showing that he has additional 10-ship convoy there full of APs, so he's probably bringing in more troops and stuff. He's got at least 2 Congo-class battleships here with some CVs carriers providing fighter cover, which was highly effective. And on top of that, The better of the carrier task forces is now south of Nemea and in direct blocking of all of my convoys that I had inbound to here. So now we have to scramble and get everything out of the way because he's sitting here blocking the ingress, right? And his bombers have the range all around to stop anything coming in. So this is a big issue. He's got a lot of fighters here. And while the bombers are weak, they can still kill some ships, right? And I'm very reluctant to send any surface ships towards this because I know he's got battleships here that can come down and defend. So I'm kind of like stuck in a vice grip right here, in a vice, right? He's got me cornered and he's got us blocked off now from getting into Nemea. And now I have to get all these convoys that were inbound to Nemea, like these guys. These guys are not going to Nemea now. I'm going to have them go down to Auckland. Because I do not want them getting intercepted by this. I got, these guys are fleeing. This thing has the Pacific Fleet on it. Now, it's the Queen Elizabeth, right? So it could technically outrun this stuff, but I don't even want to take the chance of it getting attacked because it has Pacific Fleet headquarters on there, and that is irreplaceable. So I'm going to have to redirect these guys somewhere else until this threat subsides. So Lodrik positioning this carrier task force here, while it doesn't have a lot of power, it has enough to hurt me. And it only takes a couple lucky bombs to take out something very important. So we're kind of stuck here. He's got us blockaded, at least for Nemea. If anything going to Australia, we could divert around this. We could go around New Zealand and up if we needed to. We can still get to Australia, but to get into Nemea, we'd have to go around and back in, and it's just risky. And I don't think I want to do that while this guy's here. So yeah, I would say that this actually has a bit of coordination. He's got these carriers here with battleships covering this transport task force, which we did not see coming in, by the way. This is the first I've seen this. So he's seemingly loading more stuff onto Luganville. Although hopefully it's an amphibious attack, because with that port damage of 100, you can't dock or unload transports. It had to be amphibious. Regardless, they're still there and they're causing problems. So I want to say well played to Lodrik. Thank God the big Keto Butai isn't here, because we'd be really in trouble at that point. But even with these light forces, he has us kind of in a pickle. And after the abysmal performance of my 4-engine bombers, I'm not feeling too good about sending my 2-engine bombers at this, especially now that the fighter count has gone up. I'll just lose them all. 60 fighters on cap versus 60 twin-engine bombers that aren't overly strong. It's just a recipe for disaster and another blowout like we had today. And I just don't think I want to risk it now. So we're just going to have to wait this out. I wish I had some carriers here to deal with this, but they're up at Ceylon, and they're not going to get down here in time. It would take me 2 to 3 weeks to get my carriers back to Sopak. And once he realizes they're there, now we'll be weak up here. So I don't have enough carriers to be strong in 2 places at once. I got to pick one. And overall, I find the risk of Burma and India falling and the associated supply lines to China being compromised the bigger risk to my campaign. This is annoying. Is it going to lose us the war? Absolutely not. It won't. But it's annoying, and it delays my plans because I cannot get more troops on the Nemea. I can't get more supplies, more aircraft. All the things that I'm trying to move in there, I can't do it right now because of all this. So he's causing me delays. Big delays. All right. So we have eyes on a few more task forces here, right? We don't know what they are, but they all have a lot of ships in them. Look at this. What is this? This looks like another invasion task force. Where they're going, I don't know, but these are things we did not see before, and now we see them. So where they're going, I can only tell you that they're going... This one says they're moving northeast. Who knows if that's true. Tulagi's got something at it. Those are the ACMs that we intercepted. I guess he's going to park them here for mines. And then again, we have these guys, which we know have at least 1 carrier and 2 battleships. And another 10-ship convoy with troop transports on it. So there's a lot of ships that just kind of came out of thin air over the last turn. And the last thing I want to talk about today is my submarines. What a joke. How on earth does he drive that task force through all of these subs to include a sub sitting in the hex and not a single one of our subs attacks? Please, someone tell me, what am I doing wrong with my subs that they're this useless? He literally walked over 10 subs to get to Luganville, and not a single one of them interacted with this convoy. I don't know what else to do, right? They have decent commanders. Look at the aggression level. We're on max react. We'll have a patrol zone. Why are my subs not engaging these guys as they drive over? We've seen him coming and they did not attack. It's so aggravating. His subs never miss, and in mine will sit here and do nothing while he drives directly over them. If you guys know a better way for me to use my subs, please tell me, because they're just nothing but paperweights to me. It's making me mad. We should be shooting at these guys right now with torpedoes every round. And we're doing nothing. And it's costing me airplanes. Yeah, so that's this turn. I'm going to call this a bad turn for me for two reasons. One, the implications about the amount of troops that he has in China are bad for me. And two, we got blown out in the air over Luganville. Granted, it was my fault. I'm not blaming the game. I'm not blaming the misclick. I did not think it through good enough. I didn't plan contingencies. So that's my fault. Those bombers that we lost were 100% my fault. But it happened. So we lost the bombers here. We're stuck and blocked at Naval. And we have problems in China. So this was not a good turn for me. Lodrik, good job. I'm impressed. Your depth stack is among the biggest I've ever seen or heard of in this game, and you should be proud of that. That you can find that many troops to put in one spot. Wow. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It'll be a couple days before I can work this turn because I've got some stuff to do. In my personal life, I won't be able to play this turn for at least a couple days, so I'll have time to listen to your inputs, or you can tell me how much I stink at this game, or you can tell me what all my mistakes are. I'll listen to all of it. Or you can come to Discord and do the same thing. But that's the turn. I hope you enjoyed it. I was definitely caught off guard by all of this. And to think that Lodrik was thinking about pulling the plug on this. And here he is being effective again and doing things and shaking things up. So, I'm glad he stuck it out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.